Today's speaker is Mr. Atul Sheth, and his topic is world-class manufacturing. Before start, I will just briefly introduce the today's speaker. Mr. Atul Sheth is born and brought up in Mumbai. Atul is an accomplished mechanical engineer from Walchand College of Engineering, Sangli, and an automobile engineering from VZTI, Mumbai. Atul is started his career from Mahindra and Mahindra, Kandivali, Mumbai, and almost he spent 21 years in Mahindra, from trainee engineer to deputy general manager. He worked in Kandivali, Nasik, as well as Zairabad plant. Atul also visited a Ford plant in UK. You remember that Mahindra had a collaboration with Ford to start the car plant in India. And during that period, Atul visited their UK plant. He studied the car assembly process as per the standard process sheets. He was heading the vehicle assembly plant when the Ford car made in India, and which was rolled out from the Nasik plant. That car was Ford Escort. Atul also worked with other auto component manufacturing companies like Badwe Engineering, Leo Corporation, and Sharda Motors. He also worked with Greaves Cotton Limited when we worked together in Greaves as well as Mahindra. And he is retired from Sharda Motors as a chief technical officer or CEO, you say. We also completed general manager course at SP Jain Institute of Management, Andheri, Mumbai. The course was sponsored by Mahindra and Mahindra, and we were together in that also. His expertise in the areas like operations, manufacturing, quality management, TPM, and supplier management. He also associated with the CII Nasik, IIMM, that is Indian Institute of Materials Management, Nasik chapter, an avid traveler and enjoys listening to the old music, Hindi songs. And with this brief introduction, now I will hand over the session to Mr. Atul Sheth.
Yeah, thank you, Nikodkar, and thank you, Sony. Nice meeting all of you online after so long,
Yeah.
Because ever since I think we left Greaves, we couldn't meet.
Yes,
so it's a nice opportunity that we have today.
Yes,
to meet our old colleagues and friends. So thank you, Sony, for giving this opportunity to discuss world-class manufacturing. It's a topic which is very interesting, and it's a topic which is applicable to each and every industry. Whether it is an automobile or pharma or FMCG or any industry. This particular topic, the way I'm going to share with you, there are two purposes. By virtue of discussing these 20 points, you will come to know what are the characteristics of world-class manufacturing. And by answering each of those questions as yes or no, with respect to your own organization, at the end of the discussion, we will come to know where your organization is with respect to world-class manufacturing, and which are those strong areas and which are those areas of improvement. All that perhaps you will come to know about it. And if time permits, or if it doesn't permit, then maybe we can have an extension of this session some other time, where I can take you into 70 other questions which are grouped differently between leadership and HR and strategy and other things, So that will give you a further deeper insight into your own organization, where it stands with respect to world-class manufacturing. So, Sony, I would request you to come up with the first slide.
Yeah.
So this session is about, self-assessment about our own organization. And at the same time, we understand the characteristics of world-class manufacturing. So as I said just now, there will be 20 questions, 20 situations or 20 characteristics that we will discuss. And you be ready with your paper and pen. And question number wise 1 to 20, all you need to do is just answer yes or no. That's all. Whatever comes to your mind first, you don't have to think too much about it. Whatever comes to your mind, you write yes or no, whatever is appropriate with respect to your own organization. So let's start. So before we go to all those 20 characteristics of world-class manufacturing, we will have a brief discussion about world-class manufacturing. What is the definition of world-class manufacturing? As the slide says, the recognition of an organization as a benchmark. Like in automobile industry, we talk about Toyota as a benchmark. So likewise, in your own industry, if your organization is being considered as a benchmark by the industry or by even other industries for some for some aspects of manufacturing, then you can say yes, it's a world-class manufacturing. And world-class manufacturing organizations, they consistently deliver exceptional performance, frequently in excess of expectations. So this is a forward-looking organization. There is a continuous improvement going on there, and most of the time it is in excess of expectation. So it is expectation surpassed, as we called in as we talk about in Mahindra and Mahindra's performance appraisals. Expectation surpassed. So these are the organizations who would be rated as a world-class manufacturing organization. So this is a brief definition of world-class manufacturing. And now I will take you through those 20 parameters or characteristics of a world-class organization, and just answer yes or no, that's all. And with respect to your organization. So this is the first slide which speaks about product quality. And the question is your product quality recognized as a benchmark by your industry and you are consistently enjoying a sizable market share? Is that the case? You can take an example of iPhone. iPhone is definitely enjoying that status today. Or any example that comes to your mind first in any category, in any commodity. So is your product quality recognized as a benchmark? And if you want, I can explain you further. The world-class organizations are characterized by superior product quality as compared to its competitors. So they also enjoy a good customer confidence, which is represented by their share in the market. So this is not a lecture. I would say this is a sort of workshop, where at the end of the session, we will have an assessment for our own organizations that we represent to understand where we are with respect to world-class manufacturing. Knowledge of key customers. Does everyone in the company know who the key customers are and what differentiates the company's products and services from the competition? It happens very frequently. I have come across during my 37 years of journey that there are only a couple of guys who interact with customers and they only know what customers want, and most of the time it is the QA managers. Others are not interested in who the customers are. So this happens in many organizations. But in a world-class organization, most of the people, the key people in the organization who are representing business functions, they know who the customers are. So what is it with respect to your organization? Awareness of the strengths and weaknesses of the company's product or service is a key factor in achieving the involvement of everyone in the company and improving employees' satisfaction. So does everybody, or at least the key people in your organization, are aware of who the customers are? Or only some, like QA managers, know? Or those who are representing or who are getting business, the commercial managers, only they know what the customers are? The production guy would not know, the maintenance guy would not know, the AME guy would not know. Is that the case? That is the current situation with respect to your organization? If that is so, you have to answer no. Otherwise, yes, if everybody is aware of the key customers,
At the end of the lecture, we can try to unmute everybody so that they can interact.
Yeah, we would like to, though I would not like to know the organization's name, but at least they can share the score, so we come to know how many companies are represented here in this lecture, and what are the general scores that are available and what is the scope available for improvement? Now, coming to this on-time delivery. See, currently I am working with one small MSME company in Nasik. And on-time delivery is a big concern with respect to this organization. And whenever I go there once in a week, and whenever I go there, I find customers representative is always stationed at this particular company for delivery purpose. Quality is not such a big issue, but delivery is a big issue, you know. So since January end, I am working with this company, and I have now started focusing on how to improve the OE of this company so that we can first meet the delivery performance. So here the question is, do you ship to your customers on time in full? So this is a terminology which is generally used in automobile industry, where just in time is the requirement, you know, rather it's a basic requirement of any automobile OEM. So on time in full. So it is on time also, and it is in the required quantity also. It's not like, you know, on time means on time delivery has gone, but you have dispatched only 90% of it. Not like that. It's at least 99% of the time against their latest schedule or delivery agreement. This is the question. So now you look from your organization perspective, whether you are meeting this requirement of being a world-class company. I know in most of these tier 1 and tier 2 companies in India who are supplying to OEMs, they have a hell of a time, you know, in meeting this particular requirement. So, but this is a very important requirement. So, and just a brief explanation is like all objectives are subordinate to the requirement to ship what your customer expects and when he expects. With all the relevant paperwork complete, 99% of the items shipped should arrive at the customer at an agreed time. Now here there is an important word, relevant paperwork also. Sometimes it happens, you know, that the part number is different, the actual part is different, or the quantity, there is a mismatch in the quantity of the invoice and the physical quantity. So all this, or the ASN, advanced shipping note, is not available. So all this, though you have shipped the material in time, you have also shipped the quantity as per requirement, yet the material cannot be inverted and fed to the assembly line, and still the line will stop, you know. So we don't talk about only time and quantity, we also talk about the paperwork, relevant paperwork, which is very, very important, you know. So from this perspective, you can answer yes or no. Empowered staff, a very interesting requirement, you know. Empowered staff. Do all staff who are in contact with customers have the authority and empowerment to resolve customer problems? Now, as I said just now, most of the time it is the QA manager or the commercial manager or the business development guys who are empowered, not anybody else, you know. But I don't think that should be the condition. So managing the point of contact with your customer is the single most important company success factor. A company can only consider itself to be the world-class manufacturing company if all its customers are confident that any problems they have to be speedily resolved, and they will be kept fully informed, preferably by the person they initially contacted. So this is generally the business development people, you know. And I have come across many situations where somebody doesn't lift the phone, and I, in the capacity of CEO, would be contacted by the customer who is very upset and disappointed, you know, that someone as the QA manager or the business development guy has not responded to emails or not answered his calls, he's not picking up calls. So this is one thing which will differentiate from being a world-class company. So all that is expected here is the empowerment to resolve customer problems. Now, if you only listen to your customer and then say, I'll come back to you, I will discuss with somebody, I will discuss with my engineering and then come back to you and all that. All that is okay. As long as you make some commitments and you meet those commitments, customer would not mind. But if you just linger on, then customer would definitely form up his opinion about your company. So that should not be the case. So you should be empowered staff. So yes or no? Or if you have any difficulties in understanding this characteristics, you can raise a flag, you can raise your question. That facility is, I think, available in this interaction. And we can discuss further on that in case there is a doubt available. Eliminate central storage. Both Sony as well as Nevadkar would agree with me that almost 30% of the Kandivali plant was occupied by the store at one point of time. Would you agree, Rajendran?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
We had a huge store, with hundreds of racks, so much of material lying in that store. And we are talking about direct store. We are not talking about indirect material. We are talking about direct material. Direct material, I hope you all know what direct material is. Direct material are the components which go into the product. So the question is, have you eliminated the central storage of direct material? And is the purchased material supplied to the point of use without routine inspection? Now, I was in vehicle assembly of Kandivali plant, and we had a store attached in that building. And on the other side of the building, there was another building where there was incoming inspection. So material would come to the store, get stored, then go to the inward inspection, and then travel back to the assembly line. So that was a huge travel of material, and plus additional process of routine inspection. So what is expected here is DOL, that is direct on line material. So whatever you are procuring, that material has to be procured in the required quantity, which meets your quality standards, and it can be directly fed on line without inward inspection. So is that the case in your organization? And I would not read the entire explanation, because I think we are all matured enough to understand what this requirement means. But still, I will give you a couple of minutes to read the explanation for this requirement. So this is the requirement: direct on line material. And then this will definitely be, a very important parameter as far as ITR is concerned. And when you talk about ITR, it is inventory turnover ratio. And most of the time, at least in the tier 2 organizations that I am associated with, the inventory value is almost 40 to 50% of the monthly sale. So if the monthly sale is, say, about 4 crore, then the inventory also is around 2 crore, or more than that. So there is a financial cost attached to the inventory. So lower the inventory, lower the financial cost. The cost of one operator will be, say, 15,000 rupees per month. But when you talk about financial cost for 2 crore rupees inventory, at say 12% also, it will be 2 lakh rupees, which will be equal to almost, say, around 12 to 15 operators. So while we focus on reducing the operators and improving the productivity, I think there will be more positive impact if you can reduce your inventories, and improve your ITRs. So from that point of view, having DOL material, direct online material, is very important, and with 0 ppm. And you don't need to think too much, whatever comes to the top of your mind immediately, you should write. आप ज़्यादा सोचेंगे and ज़्यादा, if you try to manipulate things and compromise and नहीं ऐसा नहीं वैसा नहीं वो थोड़ा सा है, ये problem वो problem, whatever comes to, because in the interest of your organization, if you candidly write down yes or no, I think that will help your organization and help yourself also. This is minimize the distance between sequential operations. Now, this is also very, very, very important, at least in an automobile company or in an electronics company where products are being made in thousands and millions, this makes a big difference. Minimize the distance between sequential operations. So have you laid out the majority of your machines and equipments so as to minimize the distance between sequential operations? Now, if no, then what happens is, then the WIP, that is work in process inventory, increases, which adds to your overall inventory. Because when you talk about inventory, inventory is finished goods, raw material, and work in process. So if your machines are not laid out in sequential way, then you will land up with a lot of WIP, and that inflates your overall inventory, and your ITR goes down, and your finance is blocked in your inventory. So from that point of view also, this is very important. So minimum setup time. I think most of you must be aware of SMED, single minute exchange of dies. So have you reduced, or are you reducing the setup time between products to the point when it is economical to make your product in quantities required for customer shipments? So what it actually means is, if your setup time is less, especially if it is in single digit, less than 10 minutes, then you can frequently take setups and you can take small batches, which again reduces your inventory. But if the setup times are, say, around 45 minutes and 1 hour, then you tend to take bigger lots. And once you take bigger lots, your WIP increases. So this is very important as far as press shop is concerned. So those industries where there is a press shop and who are supplying big A-class panels to the OEMs, there this particular parameter becomes very significant. So even in the organization which I am working with on a weekly basis, they are basically into press shop, and they are currently at around 40 to 45 minutes. And that is one reason why they have to operate at a higher lot size. And if you see their shop floor is full of material, And why? Because they say we cannot afford setups very frequently. And so once we set up, we take the lot for at least 15 days. So that is a kind of situation that prevails in many organizations in India, especially the tier 2s. So what is the situation as far as your own organization is concerned? Have you reduced, or are you reducing the setup times between the products to the point where it is economical to make the product in the quantities required for customer shipment? If the customer requirement is, say, 100 per day, does your setup time allow you to take such small lots of 100 and ship 100 every day? Or you have to take 1,000 but ship 100, so balance 900 will remain in your WIP? So that is the question. So if you have understood and if you have finished, we will move to the next one. Training. हाँ साहब, अभी बहुत बिजी है हम लोग, अभी कोरोना का बहुत प्रॉब्लम है. अभी ट्रेनिंग के लिए तो हम किसको, we cannot spare anybody for training. And then there are some people who are identified in an organization by every department that कभी भी training का requirement आएगा, and if it is very compulsory and if it is like, mandatory that you need to send somebody, then you can send XYZ, because those are the people who are always available or earmarked for training. So is that the scenario that is there in the organization, where there are people who are earmarked for attending the training programs because others, they cannot be spared? So have you an ongoing education and communication program to inform existing employees and educate every new employee, whatever function he or she is performing, in the value of world-class manufacturing? Like, I will give you my own example. When I joined Mahindra in 1984, I was given 1 month of orientation in the entire Kandivali plant. But after 10 days, the training manager, Mr. Venkatraman, he called me and said, Atul, your training is over now. That balance training, we will see when it can be given. Now you better go and meet Mr. Vincent D'Souza and report to him. And I was reporting to Vincent D'Souza. He said, you go and report to Mr. Ramesh. And I went to Mr. Ramesh and he tells me that Atul, you start looking after FRP. Now, at that point of time, I didn't even knew what FRP means here. FRP is fiber reinforced plastic vehicles. So you would have seen the old Mahindra vehicles with a white colored body on it. So that was FRP body. So I was given that assignment, without any training. But I mean, we picked up over a period of time and we performed. That's a different matter. But those things, they don't work today in today's scenario. So today training is a must. I will repeatedly give you examples of this current organization where I'm going. Since January 22nd, I'm attending this company and I'm asking them to give me a 2-hour slot and a 4-hour slot for 2 sessions on training. But they are not able to give me that 2 hours and 4-hour slot. I wanted to cover 8 habits of highly effective people. And I wanted to cover TPM awareness program. And now they have told me that after 10th of April, we will give you that slot and you can conduct that training for our guys. So is that the scenario that is prevailing in your organization? So training is a must, and without training, I know what I have gone through during my trainee days, and I can imagine now the requirements are much more complex. So if any BE or diploma mechanical engineer or diploma engineers, if they join a company and if they do not have enough or at least appropriate or adequate training, and then if you expect performance from them, I think it will be too much. So I think we need to definitely give due respect and importance to the training. And in fact, if some of you are aware of TPM, then there is one entire pillar on, out of those 8 pillars of TPM, one particular pillar talks about education and training. So that is the importance that ENT pillar is enjoying as far as TPM is concerned. And this TPM, it has been originated from Japan. And Japanese, they believe in training. Initiative. Do employees take initiative to move to the point of need? I hope most of you are Maharashtrians, so I can take the liberty of speaking some Marathi here, though I am a Gujarati, but I can speak Marathi well. Generally, कुणीतरी शहाणपणा दाखवला की आपण काय म्हणतो, ए बाबा 2 पंच आणि 1 लंच एवढंच करायचं काम इकडे, बाकी मी सांगेल तेवढं करायचं. आपला भेजा गेटमध्ये ठेवून आतमध्ये यायचं, जाताना भेजा घेऊन जायचं, जास्त शांतपणे दाखवायची नाही. So two employees take, then why should somebody take the initiative? तेवढं सांगितलं तेवढं करायचं, बाकी डोळे झाकून टाकायचे. जर का इकडे तिकडे काही व्यवस्थित होत नसेल तर आपले डोळे बंद करायचे, कान बंद करायचे, काय बोलायचंच नाही, कारण आपल्याला सांगितलं गेलेलं आहे 2 पंच 1 लंच, आणि दिमाग ठेवायचा गेटवर, जाताना परत घेऊन जायचा. तशी काही सिच्युएशन आहे का आपल्याकडे? तशी असेल तर मग नो म्हणा. And if employees are taking initiatives and they are moving to the point of need, जिथं प्रॉब्लेम आहे तिथं लोक पळून जात आहेत, people are going to the point where there is a problem, they all come together, work as a team, sort out the issues and ensure that the line runs. If that is the kind of situation that is prevailing in your organization, you can say yes, otherwise no. Reduce non-value adding activities. I have come across many suppliers asking for rate amendments. साहब incoming raw material का rate बढ़ गया है. So they say, साहब you please raw material rates have increased and you need to revise our PO. Then I tell them, have you looked into your own organization first? What are the NVAs which are available in your organization? And I have visited many suppliers. In my 37 years, I would have visited not less than 200 suppliers. And in my one visit of say 1 hour or 1.5 hours or 2 hours, I can identify at least 10 areas of improvement which are actually non-value-adding activities. So I simply ask how many people are working in rework areas, how many people are working in 100% inspection areas. So they will say 10 people are working in 100% inspection, 5 people are working in rework. Why they are working in rework? Because the FTR is less than 100. Now what is FTR? First time right. So if your first time right is less than 100, and then 10 or 15% parts are going into rework, and you have set up a rework shop in your organization, then that is an NVA. And because your FTR is less and you have kept 10 people in 100% inspection, working in one small area, some 10 girls or 10 ladies are working there, and they are checking 100% parts. And then I ask them whether your customer PPM is 0. They say no, customer PPM is around 1,200. So if there are 100% inspection going on in an organization and your customer PPM is not 0, it is 1,200, it tells me very clearly that your 100% inspection is not effective. Your 15-20% rework is not effective. Your FTR you need to improve. Now, some examples which I will give you, like deburring, retapping, grinding, buffing. These are the operations which generally people do, and somehow they meet the customer requirements. But if they can focus on eliminating these non-value-added activities by working on the root cause, if somebody has to work on the toolings, then let us work on the toolings. Even if 50,000 or 80,000 rupees are required to spend, let us spend, so that you can come out of this NVA activities. So just answer yes or no. Is there a program in place to progressively reduce the non-value added cost? So these activities, they don't add any value, but they add to the cost of the product, which makes you incompetitive. So you cannot stand against a competitor. If a competitor is a world-class manufacturer and you have a lot of NVA activities going around within your company, then your product cost will never be competitive. Smaller number of quality suppliers. Again, very important. Again, I will quote here an example of Mahindra & Mahindra, where at one point of time, we used to have around 800 to 1,000 suppliers. So what is expected here? Is there a program in place to reduce your supplier base to a small number of qualified suppliers integrated into your business? Now, I will again give you some examples. Mahindra has many models, like they have Scorpio, they have Bolero, they have XUV, they have TUV. So if there are suppliers who are product wise, somebody who is supplying only for Scorpio, somebody is supplying for Bolero, somebody is supplying for XUV, or somebody is supplying for TUV. And if that particular model doesn't click, like KUV, for example, it has not clicked. So if somebody who is supplying only for KUV, and if KUV is not doing good, then that supplier will have terrible times, maintaining his business. So we need to have small number of suppliers, but quality suppliers, whom we can depend on. So here, maybe I think it's important here to read out the explanation. The world-class purchasing objective is a small supplier base of reliable companies working in partnership from design stage, delivering frequently in the quantities you need directly to the point of use. Now, in Sharda Motor or in Lear, I have come across many situations where during the design stage of A-class components, we don't even know who is the supplier. So we go to a tooling manufacturer, we manufacture the toolings, and when the toolings are ready, when the tool tryout is done, that is the time we start thinking now, whom should we shift the tools to? So we involve the supplier only after the tool tryouts are done at the tool manufacturer's end, and then shift the tool to the manufacturer. And then the manufacturer will come out with so many problems with the tool design and he will ask for another 3, 4, 5 lakh rupees to do all the corrections before he starts supplying the material. So that delays the whole project. So here the question is, we need small number of suppliers, but the quality suppliers who are involved right from the design stage of the product. So is that the case? If yes, why? If this is not the case in your organization, no. And we move to the next question. TQM culture. This is again a Japanese concept, TQM culture. Is there a culture of total quality? Here, this is also very interesting. Here must be a culture of total quality throughout the business. See, until 10 years back, the responsibility of quality was lying only on incoming inspection and the in-process inspection and the final inspection. These were the three QA functions who were responsible for quality. Production का कोई लेना देना नहीं था quality से. I produce, you check. That was the concept that was there some 10-15 years back, and ever since 98 onwards, where TPM came into India, we talk about I produce, I check. So is that the case? So what is the situation? Get one person to do a job and then someone else to check it. It is not only wasteful, but it is demotivating also. When you produce a part and somebody rejects it, I don't think you feel good about it. So today we talk about single piece flow. We talk about 100% FTR, first time right. So we cannot have a concept like I produce and you check. So you produce 1,000 numbers and offer the batch to inspection, and he rejects that entire batch of 1,000 numbers, and that 1,000 numbers have to be either reworked or they have to be scrapped. That is going to cost of poor quality, which is not acceptable, which hits your profitability. So is there right from design to manufacturing, is there a total TQM culture prevailing in your organization, right from design, product design, process design, tool design, manufacturing design, industrial engineering, supplier toolings? So is there a culture of total quality from A to Z? Yes. Why? If no, N. And we move to the next one. I don't expect 100% inspection, inward inspection, 100% in-process inspection, 100% final inspection. But at least you can have audits, product audits and process audits. So do you at least audit your process, product as well as process quality inside the test limits? So if you at least have your audits in place, the audits will raise a flag in case something is likely to go out of control limits. So if you are, say, for example, doing SPC, if you are drawing control charts, then you know how your process is performing, whether your points are going continuously towards the upper control limit or they are going continuously towards the lower control limits, where you need to tamper, where you need to take action, so that there are no rejections produced, there are no non-conforming components produced. So a culture of audit is the must. So a world-class company will at least have audits in place, product as well as process audits. Next, authority to stop. This authority is always on paper. For TS 16949, all these things, we have to jot down. There is a documentation for who is authorized to stop. But I don't think there are many organizations, at least in India, where somebody certainly enjoys this authority to stop the line. Because the moment you stop the line, and if you are a just-in-time supplier, the customer line will stop. And when the customer line stops, then your MD or the COO will be definitely called up by the big boss of the OEM. And then there will be a pressure coming on you that you better release it here. Let us take internal deviation, but let us dispatch the components. Let us take the risk. Doesn't matter. But I don't want penalty. I don't want so and so calling me. It doesn't look nice if they call me. If we cannot stop their lines. So what is the situation in your organization? Does everyone have the authority to stop the line? This situation should not come if the product FMEA, design FMEA, the process FMEAs are done, if your 4M man machine material method is under control, then this kind of situations, they don't arise, generally. If you are having DOL suppliers, if your supplier base is small, if you have all quality suppliers, then you don't need to worry about this kind of situation. But yes, in India, this is a problem, Like for Tier 1 today, they are almost meeting the requirements of OEMs, but they are handicapped when it comes to Tier 2. When you go to Tier 3, situation is terrible. So again, the question, yes or no, about your organization, can you stop the line? Even if it means stopping customer line, you upfront talk to your customer and tell him that I have a problem in a product quality of so and so parameter, and that's the reason why I am not able to ship the material to you. Your line will stop, but I don't want to deviate on quality. Then the customer will come, they will visit, they will see what the deviation that you're asking for. They will try and go back and see whether that parameter will really affect their quality or functional or appearance or fitment quality. And they will come and say, okay, no problem, you can ship this consignment. So you should have the authority and you should upfront talk to your customer and take a decision, a joint decision, and either dispatch or stop. But simply not sharing things with customer and stopping the line and let the customer SCM guys talk to you and call your big bosses and then you get pressurized to dispatch the material. I think that is not a healthy situation. So anyway, so take your decision. Does everyone have authority to stop line? Mistake proofing, as I said, in one organization or in many organizations, there is a department of final inspection. There are 100% inspection, and most of the time I find ladies or girls who are manned, in this departments, and they do 100% inspection. And yet, as I said earlier, customer PPM is around 1200, or more than 1200. It doesn't come down in spite of 100% inspection. So what actually it means is, if you can foolproof your critical processes, we call it mistake proofing or we call it foolproofing, if you can add those mechanical sensors or electronic sensors or things like that, which can prevent a defective part from being generated, or by chance if it gets generated, then at least it should get detected somewhere down the line. Ideal control should be on prevention or generation of a defect. If you don't generate a defect at all, then the pressure on detection comes down drastically. So here there are a lot of agencies available in India nowadays. You can just give your task to them and they will come and deploy their expertise, and they will come out with a solution for mistake proofing a particular operation. And this is a must. I have seen many Pokayokes being installed nowadays at the process design stage itself. Because if you have to do it afterwards, then it adds cost. So if you do it at the design stage, at the design, ideally speaking, it should go into the design, product design. But if it is not possible in the product design, then at least in the process design, if you can incorporate all the mistake proofing, then you are 100% sure that whatever you are producing are all okay conforming parts, and your FTR is 100%, and your line will stop in case there is a likelihood of product going out of specs. So this is a very, very important, and I think most of the youngsters who join organizations today, They spend a lot of time in designing this kind of mistake proofing. Equipment ownership with users, very important criteria. Something which I being a TPM coordinator and a follower of TPM, I preach and practice TPM. I have won some awards for Sharda Motor Company from CII, TPM Club of India. I was a TPM coordinator way back in 2003 and 4 for Mahindra Zahirabad. So here we talk about equipment ownership with the users. So if you are owning a two-wheeler or if you are owning a four-wheeler, what is expected from you is at least you own that two-wheeler and that four-wheeler and do CLITA. CLITA is CLITA. C for cleaning. So you clean your bike or your car. L is for lubrication. So you lubricate those points which are mentioned in the owner's manual. I is for inspection. You inspect your tire pressure, you inspect your battery specific gravity, you inspect your belt tensions and things like that. T is tightening. Wheel nuts to be tightened, some important nuts and bolts to be tightened. Are you doing that? A is for adjustments. So there are clutch adjustment, brake pedal adjustments, accelerator cable adjustments, or fan belt adjustments. Are you doing CLITA at least for your equipments, for the machine, for the milling machine or a drilling machine, for a conveyor, for any equipment that you are handling in the organization or at home? Are you doing CLITA? Are you taking ownership of doing at least CLITA? Yes, for major repairs, you may take the equipment to a garage or to a mechanic. But I can guarantee you that if you are doing CLITA, then your motorcycle or a car can enjoy the designed life. So say the designed life is say 20 years or 2.5 lakh kilometers. You should be able to enjoy this life of 2.5 lakh kilometers or 20 years, whichever is less or whichever is more. However, today, Nitin Gadkari comes out with a scrapping policy beyond 15 years. That's a different matter. But I can share an example of myself. I am owning a Honda scooter, Eterno, which I purchased in 2005. And today it has completed 16 years. And today also the condition of that scooter is such, after start, absolutely zero issues, still giving me around 55 average. So, but I religiously do this CLITA on my Eterno. So are you taking that kind of ownership? Are your operators taking that kind of ownership of the equipment or toolings or fixtures that they are handling, and ensure that they do CLITA, they do those daily, weekly checks, and ensuring that they are always in condition of use? Yes or no? Or they only when they break down, they fill up the breakdown slip and give it to the maintenance guys, and the process is stopped till then. The maintenance guys or the tooling guys, they will come, they will attend, and then only the process will start. Is that a situation? Then the answer is no. Next. Good housekeeping. You all, I think, are aware of 5S. Forget about 5S. We talk about 1S and 2S. Even in Tier 2 and Tier 3, the situation of 1S itself is so terrible that I cannot think about starting 2S also, you know. Even 1S coming to a certain level, I think it may take about 3 to 6 months time, and that too with rigorous follow-up with that organization and the team. Somewhere then you will see that, okay, it's a reasonably good 1S. And then it will take maybe another 3 to 4 months time for 2S. And 5S perhaps may take about 1.5 to 2 years. So good housekeeping is a must. And I don't want to tell you why it's a must. I mean, you go to your own house and see, or you go to your relative's house and see how their house is, and then you come back and tell your wife or your mother I look at this fellow's house here, so beautiful, man. Everything in place. Such a wonderful arrangements they have. No newspapers, nothing is lying here and there. And you get impressed by that kind of a situation. And you come back and you expect that even in your house also, you will not find napkins and towels lying here and there, the books lying here and there, or the remote controls are lying here and there, and your laptop is lying there, and your chargers are lying somewhere. So if that is the kind of situation, then that does not bring good thoughts in your mind. So from that point of view, good housekeeping is very important. Maybe if you wish, we can take some programs on 5 years later on. So do you have an active policy to help or keep your work areas clean, tidy, and uncluttered? There can be sweepers, but the sweeper should sweep the aisles only. The work area has to be kept clean by that concerned operator only. The sweeper cannot enter that work area. In the common aisles, if there are any dust or dirt lying there, maybe the sweeper will come with a vacuum cleaner and clean up everything and keep the shop floor clean. But the work area has to be kept clean. And this is not only shop floor, it is the outside premises, the scrapyard, the watchman's cabin, and including the offices, whether it's the supply chain office or whether it's the maintenance department office or whether it is a ME office or whichever office it is. So housekeeping, the scope of housekeeping is right from the security gate till the CO or MD's cabin. Whatever is in between, it falls into the scope of good housekeeping. Product design to involve all departments. So does the design of products include a consideration of the manufacturability of the product? Mahindra is a nice place where I have worked for 21 years, and I can share hundreds of examples with you where a product is designed in R&D or in IDAM. Situation in IDAM was a little bit better, but prior to IDAM, that is prior to Scorpio, that was prior to 2000, before the launch of Scorpio, R&D would design a product, issue the drawings to the suppliers. Suppliers will start supplying the components, and you start assembling those vehicles, and you come across 150 types of issues while assembling that vehicle. Somewhere there will not be an accessibility for tightening. Somewhere they have used an M8 into 1.25 bolt. Somewhere they have used 516 by 24 UNF nut. So if they get mixed up and you have buggered up the quality of the joint. So there are many such situations, where we used to have many difficulties in assembling a product. Our FTR, that is first time right, was 0% in those days. So it is only after IDAM, and the name of IDAM is Integrated Design and Manufacturing. That is IDAM. So that is where Mahindra also learned from the other world-class OEMs that IDAM is the only way to develop a product where you involve people from manufacturing, where the suppliers are also getting involved. And quite likely your FTR will be, say, around 85% in the beginning. There will be some teething issues which can be resolved with minimum investment, and in maybe 2 or 3 months' time, we can start rolling 100% FTR products, straight go products, roll from the assembly line and go straight to dispatch. So that is the kind of situation that we are looking at. So again, answer yes or no. Product design to involve all departments, including suppliers. Continuous improvement, I think this is a buzzword, for last at least last 20 years, I would say, last 20 to 25 years, we have been hearing about continuous improvement, and this is being followed religiously by world-class companies. I had an opportunity to visit Toyota in Japan somewhere in 2004 or 5. And even Toyota, they do continuous improvement even today. So we call them world-class companies and all, zero defect products and 100% FTR and all those things that we talk about today. But they still have continuous improvement being driven at all levels, at the operators level, at the engineers level, at the departmental head levels, at every level, irrespective of your function, irrespective of whether you are in an office, whether you are in store, whether you are in excise, whether you are in finance or accounts or wherever you are. Is there a culture of continuous improvement in the organization? You have to be better than what you are at today. And the quantum doesn't matter. Slight improvement also is okay. But if there are, say, 100 improvements which are being done, then cumulative effect of those hundreds will definitely be considerable improvements in processes or in the design or in the cost. So again, continuous improvement. Nowadays, you will find the organizations, they have a separate function. They call it CIP, Continuous Improvement Process Department. So there will be a departmental head. There will be a senior general manager heading that function with a team of 3-4 lean experts in an organization, and they will drive this CIP across functions, across all the entire organization. Feedback from customers and employees. Is there a mechanism to quickly and effectively receive and evaluate suggestions from customers and employees? Are people motivated in the organization? Now, as far as customer is concerned, perhaps yes, because we may not have any choice denying customer suggestions, But in many organizations where the so-called HR, in those days, we used to have only IR, industrial relations, or today we call it employee relations. So today we have HR, we have ER. Now, whether organization is hearing employees or do punch ek lunch, keep your dimag at the gate and come inside and take it back when you go outside. If that is the kind of situation, then employees are not a motivated lot. So they are demotivated. What keeps them in the organization is the basic need. Unko unka ghar chalana hai, and just to run their livelihoods, they keep working in an organization. The moment they get a better opportunity, they try to move out. And that's the reason you would have seen nowadays the longevity. I said I worked for 21 years. Maybe Nevadkar also would have worked for 21 years. My father worked for 45 years in a company. And maybe there are examples where people have worked for even more than that many years for even one organization. But I don't think that is the case today. So it's very important to hear the customers and hear the employees. So answer yes or no, whether your environment of your company is conducive to understand the employees' suggestions and feedbacks. And as a formality, yes, you have to give your feedback, but nobody acts on it. If that is the case, then still the answer will be no. Answer will be N for this question. So it is like you have authority to give your suggestions, comments, formally, informally, they are looked at, they are heard about, people are taking action on it, you are being notified, and you feel good about it. So if that is the kind of situation, then answer yes, otherwise no. And this is the end of our today's world-class manufacturing questions.
Thank you
So much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sony.
Yeah, thank you. Meet soon.
Yeah, sure.